Yes, hello students. Let us discuss transportation in plants. As we have completed in previous videos, transportation in human beings. Now, transportation in plants is slightly different from the transportation in animals, as plants require very less amount of energy. And due to this, they require very less amount of energy because they are immobile and their metabolic activities are also very slow. That's why they need a type of slow transport system. And there is a different type of transport system they require as compared to as compared to animals. Now, let us discuss that if the soil contacting organ, that is root, and the chlorophyll containing organ, that is leaf, if the distance between these two organs, two organs is very small, or they are placed very nearby in small plants, then the transportation of material takes place with the help of simple diffusion. Right, students? From high concentration to low concentration. But what happens if the distance between the roots and the leaves become large? Is the diffusion sufficient to transport all these material from the roots to the leaf? No. Diffusion is not sufficient in that case. That means in this case a kind of different transport system is required. And we have to understand now that what kind of transport system is required by the plants to in case of tall trees, or when the distance between the roots and the leaf is too high, right? Plant transport system require to move energy first, that is move energy which is stored in the leaves by the process of photosynthesis, and second thing which is required to transport it, that is raw material from the roots, and the nearest and richest source of the raw material is soil, which is having all the minerals, nitrogen, phosphorus, water, and these raw materials are required to be transported from the roots to the upper parts of the plant. There are two pathways for the conduction of these, that is first is xylem and second is phloem. The basic difference, students, you all have read in the 9th class, that xylem is there to transport water and mineral from the roots to the upper part of the plant, as you can see in the diagram also, and phloem is there which is required to transport the food which is made by the leaves by the process of photosynthesis in upward and downward direction both. But xylem is required to transport only in the upward direction, not in the downward direction, right? There are the 4 elements which form these complex tissues. So you can see there are 4 elements of xylem, that is tracheids, vessels, xylem fibers, xylem parenchyma, 4 elements of phloem which help to transport the food to upper parts of the plant and to the lower parts also, that is sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. In the phloem, sieve tubes and companion cells are the conducting tissues, and in the xylem, tracheids and vessels are the conducting tissues. So, you can see in the diagram also, xylem transport water and mineral, that is simply called as transportation of water, but phloem, when used to transport the food which is prepared by the leaves to all over the body parts of the plant, that is called as translocation. That is the location of food in different cells, right? Next. Yes. Now let us discuss transport of water in plants. The structure, which structure is responsible for this, as we have discussed, xylem structure. These are tube-like structures which are present in the plant, stem, veins of the leaf. And second thing is, between the soil and root, there is the development of concentration gradient. And this concentration gradient is developed due to the, exchange of ions, or we can say due to the transportation of ions or minerals which are present in the soil, right? Now let us discuss this about the concentration gradient which is developed between the soil and the root step by step. Firstly, the ions or the minerals which are uptake or absorbed by the root hairs of the root, these ions which are rich in the soil in the form of minerals they are present. When they are absorbed by the root, through the root hairs of the root, then after this absorption, immediately the concentration of water, become high after the transportation of these ions, these minerals into the root, from the soil to the root hairs. Concentration of water after that become high. So I have marked it as the second step. When the concentration of water will become high, this water diffuse inside along with the minerals into the root hairs by the process of osmosis. These two steps takes place alternatively, and which will push the water upward in the upper part from the roots to the upper part of the plant. So let us understand again, that is the ions or minerals which are present in the soil, when absorbed or taken up by the roots by the process of diffusion, then it will create it will create high concentration of water in the soil, and then immediately after this, water which is which concentration become higher in the soil, it is also transport or moved inside the roots by the process of osmosis. These two steps takes place alternatively, which are very required to transport the water upward in the stems of the plant. But this process is not enough to reach this water to upper parts, or we can say highest point of the plant. There is, we can say, so there is another strategy which is used by the plants, which is called as transpiration. I want to tell you a fact, students, that out of 100% of water which is absorbed by the plants, out of this 100% water, only 1 or 2% of water is used in the process of photosynthesis. So now the question arises, where the 98 or 99% water goes? What happens to this water? This water is, because adequate water supply is there to the plants, only 1 or 2% of water is used up in the process of photosynthesis. This 98 to 99% of water is lost in the form of water vapor from the leaves through the stomata to the environment, and this process is called as loss of water through the stomata. Therefore, this process is called as transpiration, evaporation of, or we can say loss of water through the surface of the leaf through stomata. It takes place, and this process is called as transpiration. This transpiration will create a suction pull, or we can say a term is there, transpiration pull is created in the stems of the plant, which will create in the leaf low pressure area. It will create a low pressure area because of the transpiration, and due to this low pressure in the root, in the leaf, and high pressure in the roots, due to this pressure difference, it will suck the water upward from the stem to the leaf, and most of the water is going to be transpired from the surface of leaf. But this is creating a suction pull or transpiration pull, and pressure difference is created in the stems, so that in the capillary column it is required to suck or to push this water upward in the leaf. Now let us discuss benefits or advantages or significance, we can say, of transpiration. There are 3 significance. First is absorption and upward movement of water and mineral takes place from the roots to the leaf or to the upper part of the plant due to transpiration only, right? Now next is, it also regulates the temperature of the plant, help in regulation of temperature. Third is, transpiration pull is the major driving force in the movement of water, and when the stomata are open, then it always creating a major driving force to transport all these things. Next, now let us discuss, after the transportation of water, transport of food. The transport of food is called as translocation, and it is defined as the we can say transport of food from leaves to the upper to each and every plant cell is called as translocation. Structure which helps in the translocation is, as we have discussed, that is phloem and its elements, complex tissue phloem. And phloem will transport or translocate all the photosynthetic products which are synthesized in the leaf. Along with that, amino acids and other substances has to be transported from the leaves to the other parts of the plants. Now, you have to understand, students, before understand this flow chart, that transportation of water required or completed by some physical forces, such as you have read that transpiration pull is required for the transportation of water. But in the transportation of food, not only the physical processes are not required in this. It requires transportation of food from the leaf into the sieve tubes of phloem. It entered into the sieve tubes of phloem by utilizing ATP, that is by utilizing energy. Right? You have to write down on this arrow that sugar or sucrose or that is synthesized by the process of photosynthesis in leaf, that has to be uploaded in the sieve tubes of phloem by utilizing ATP energy. Now, when this food or this sucrose or sugar entered into the sieve tubes, it will create a low concentration of water. But in the side, we can say the side tubes, which are called as xylem, are filled with the water where high concentration of water is present. So, by the law, by the help of osmosis, water is going to transport from xylem into the phloem, because in the xylem high concentration of water is there, and in the phloem low concentration of water is created due to the addition of the sucrose or food from the leaf. Then, in the sieve tubes of phloem, by the addition of this sucrose and water, pressure in sieve tubes increases, which ultimately helps to move this food to all the parts of the plant wherever the pressure is less. Student, this is a simple flow chart with the help of which you can write your answer, that how the transportation of food takes place. But one difference you always have to be noted, that in transportation of water, transpiration pull, that is the physical force is required. But in the translocation of food, sugar or food sucrose which is prepared in the leaf has to be uploaded or transported into the sieve tubes of phloem by utilizing energy. This is called as active transportation of sucrose into the phloem, and then it is with the following the osmosis, both of these processes go on side by side, and then pressure in sieve tube increases, which helps to move the food into the parts wherever the pressure is low. So I will provide you the notes of this video also. So now the transportation in plants and in human beings completed with this. Next in next video I will discuss excretion topic. That's it. Update yourself.